So this whole cultural phenomenon surrounding this movie, and particularly its ending, is really interesting to me because I think it's a prime example of a movie that demonstrates what audiences really care about. People care about the plot. We want to know if he's still in the dream world or not. We want to know if this is a twist ending. That's what people care about. But what's really being told here is a story, not a plot. But what's the difference between the two, you may ask? Well, plot is just a list of events that take place in a story. It's the logic, the continuity, it's the Wikipedia summary. But it exists only to facilitate the conveyance of the story. The story is what matters. The story is the emotions, the ideas, the themes, the message, everything that's been conveyed to the audience. It's basically the point of a story. Which brings me to my next point. If you care about whether the spinning top stops at the end or not, I believe that you're missing the point. But if we're to understand what the ending of Inception really means, we first need to go back to the beginning. Because the first act of this movie establishes three key aspects of Cobb's character. So first off, right from the opening shot, the first thing we see is Cobb washed up on the shores of Limbo, and the first thing he sees is his children. So we understand that his relationship with his children will be an important part of the story. And later on, Cobb gets a call from his children that confirms what we already suspected. He is, for whatever reason, estranged from his children. The second important aspect of Cobb's character that's presented, and the thing that is, in my opinion, the most important aspect of his character, is his relationship with reality. As soon as the opening action sequence is over, we get to see Cobb alone, and the first thing he does is spin the spinning top to confirm that he's not in a dream. So here the story is planting the seed of the idea that Cobb doubts his reality. He's never completely sure about whether or not he's in a dream, which is, we learn later on, an idea that Cobb implanted in Moll's mind leading to her suicide, which has haunted him ever since. And this point is made again later on after Cobb awakens from the dream he's in with Ariadne, and when he awakens from testing Yusuf's drug as well. He immediately goes to check the totem to make sure he's not in a dream. Okay, so the third thing that's established is Cobb's relationship with his wife, Moll. Right away, she's presented as being an antagonistic force in the film, but it's not until later that we start to understand what she really represents, and why she is the main antagonist of the story. So anyway, let's get back to basics. It's writing 101 to establish your protagonist's desire, their want, their goal. And usually this is contrasted with their need, which is to say what they need to do in order to reach their goal. Now, this is usually something difficult, maybe a change in philosophy, a change of values, something that's hard for the character, but something they have to do in order to evolve, in order to complete their character arc. So we understand what Cobb's want is, right? He wants to be reunited with his children. Now, the plot gives us an obstacle, an explanation for why Cobb can't go home to his children yet. And that is that he's been charged with the murder of his wife, Moll. So this is the plot justification. But the story justification for why he can't go home just yet is that Cobb hasn't completed his arc yet. He still has story-related obstacles to overcome. It's only later that we understand that what Cobb needs to overcome is that doubt in his mind. The doubt over whether or not he's actually in a dream. Cobb needs to kill that doubt before he's able to go home. And as we learn later, it's Moll who represents this doubt. The reason Moll still has control over Cobb is that Cobb still harbours this doubt deep down inside his subconscious. She's pulling him in the direction of that doubt. She wants him to stay in the dream world. She wants him to keep doubting his reality. And one of the reasons it's so hard for Cobb to overcome this is that this doubt is linked to his love for his dead wife. So there's also a story about grief and overcoming grief in there too. And this is why Moll is the antagonist, and this is why she needs to be defeated. And that's exactly what Cobb does in the climactic moment of the movie. His subconscious manifestation of Moll is killed, symbolically killing off the doubt that he was experiencing and thus completing his arc. So now we get to the ending, where Cobb arrives at the house where his children are staying. He walks in, he spins the spinning top, but then he walks off into the garden to finally be reunited with his children. If you're watching a film and you want to know what it's really about, all you have to do is pay attention to the decisions the protagonist makes. The dilemmas that are presented to the main character and the choices they make in relation to those dilemmas practically always reveal the themes of the story. And what's the last decision Cobb makes? He decides not to wait until the spinning top stops. He decides to finally go be reunited with his children. So, what's the point here? The point of the story isn't whether or not it stops spinning. The point of the story is that Cobb doesn't care anymore. Cobb has accepted that he will never really know, and he's learned to appreciate whatever reality he's in. He's learned to stop doubting his reality. And that's what the ending of Inception is really about.